Welcome to I Got Next. You see the new digs. We got a whole new setup now, and tonight we're going to dive right into the ultimate setup. Cowboys fans got set up again. They were told all season this was the year, but oops, Jonesy. I know you love the Cowboys, so how much did you enjoy watching that game Sunday?
Man, you know what? It wasn't like it was a surprise. You know what I mean? Like you just know that when you have a head coach like Mike McCarthy, that you're gonna get those kind of disappointments. You know, I knew it, man. I picked the 49ers. You know, the Cowboys have one of the best rosters in football, but Mike McCarthy is woefully unqualified to be a head coach, man. This is a man who started head coaching in Green Bay, and he had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and he got one Super Bowl out of that. He's been knocked out of the playoffs numerous times. Like, I don't know why this is a surprise to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't a surprise to me, man. They call themselves America's team, but it turns out they're just America's team to make fun of every year when they lose in the playoffs. They always say it's their year. It's always a Super Bowl team, great roster, and then they always fold come playoff time. I think if you watch football, you knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny, man. Like, I was actually optimistic about them this year, especially with the defense. Actually looked pretty good for some parts in the season, but the Cowboys are going to be Cowboys, right? For the past 2 decades, they've had a number of these run-ins where it looks like they're good. They get to the first round of the playoffs, and then they choke. You know, whether it was Romo dropping the point after or this, it always seems like something just doesn't go their way. And of course, they want to blame it on the whole referee thing, like, oh, we didn't give him the ball on time. But that's an intelligence thing, right? The quarterback, Dak Prescott, has to know that he needs to give the ball to the official so the official can spot it. You can't just spot it yourself. That'd be like in basketball, the ball going out of bounds and you just inbound it in. Like, we're not playing at the park, you know? Mm-hmm. So I blame that on him. I blame that on the coach, because you're supposed to practice situations like that. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to bring in practice referees during the week to set up for situations like that. Yeah, so I love how everybody's blaming the Cowboys they're blaming the referees, but nobody wants to blame the Cowboys for having 14 penalties. Mm-hmm. That's something from a leadership standpoint. That shows that you have an undisciplined team. Right. And I blame the coach for that, because the best coaches make sure that their teams, they have 1 or 2 penalties a game. 14? That's crazy.
Yeah, and the worst one, they had a chance to get the ball back with 1.5 minutes left, and there was a pointless defensive holding where he just tackled the lineman. He wasn't even near the play, wasn't going to make the tackle. They would have stopped him on 4th down, got the ball back. They ended up getting it back with 30 seconds. But even if you don't practice it, like you said, Ant, you got to practice it. But even if you don't, you're calling that play after that timeout that the 49ers called. So if you didn't practice it or talk about it ever the entire season, the entire time Mike McCarthy's been there, that's when you tell Dak, listen, after you slide, first of all, slide shorter. You got to take 2-3 yards back, and they had enough time to spike it, even with the mess up. But he went too far, didn't slide in time, and then you got to tell him right there in that timeout, keep the ball, hand it to the ref, get everybody set, spike the ball with 1 second, then you're in business. You have a chance.
See, you know what? To be honest with you, I always try to advocate for black quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? I always do. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? And I've been a defender of Dak Prescott. But Dak Prescott should have checked out of that play. That was a stupid play call.
That was a terrible play.
That's one of the dumbest play calls I've ever seen. Dak Prescott should have checked out of that. We know that they have the middle of the field, clogged up. I mean, well, the sidelines clogged up.
Right.
Listen, if nobody's open where you need them, you throw it out of bounds, then you take a shot at the end zone. They weren't that far from the end zone. I mean, I'm sure he has enough.
They might have had a couple of shots too.
Yeah, like 3 or 4. It didn't. It's crazy because, look, I try to defend Dak Prescott, and I feel bad for him because a lot of the times when I watch the Dallas Cowboys, because I don't really like the Dallas Cowboys, right? But Tony Romo does most of their fucking games. And when Tony Romo's doing a game, he sounds like a jilted lover.
Yo, bro, you felt the pain in his voice when he was announcing it. He's like, I don't know what's going on right here.
He's like, I don't know what's going on. If I was the quarterback,
But
a little
look,
different. But y'all pick bitch ass Dak.
I get it. I get it that play at that moment, like there's a chance that if they get that snap off and are able to spike it with enough time on the clock, they have one more shot. But let's face it, they're taking one shot from the 25-yard line with a second left, and this is with their whole season. I take this back to way before that. They were down 23-10. They had to have San Francisco throw a dumbass pick just to keep them in the game. Like, how do you go? Because this is my thing, and I want to say shout out to our man. We had one of our followers and one of our viewers shouted us out earlier this week when Stephen A did his usual BS where he went on there to clown the Cowboys, did his little crap to promote First Take and everything. But shout out to Lamont Tindley, who said, that's why I'm glad for shows like I Got Next, so I don't have to be exposed to clown stuff like this, because he only does this for views. It's true. And here's the thing. I get it, and I understand like how Cowboys fans can feel in this moment, but sometimes some of that comes from having these rose-colored glasses or these Dallas Cowboy silver and blue colored glasses that there's too much of this. Their shit doesn't stink that goes around with Cowboys fans. And so you look at this all season long. You've been telling yourself, this is the team, this is the squad. They're unbeatable. I've been seeing, friends that I have that are Cowboys fans. I live in Louisiana. Got tons of friends and family who are Cowboys fans. Every time somebody does something, it might be this is the first time that somebody with the letter Q in their middle name scored 3 touchdowns in a game. Like, who gives a shit? Nobody else cares except y'all. So if you aren't going to be like honest about how you assess your team, you're going to continue to have shit like this happen. Because as Jonesy said, when you got a coach like Mike McCarthy, who seems woefully shy and afraid to actually put the ball in the hands and the game in the hands of playmakers and let them make plays, it finally comes down to this play where he's like, all right, now we're going to let you make a play, Dak. Okay, yeah, by himself on a what looked like a damn program draw.
See,
it was awful.
Call that play. You don't call that play without timeouts. See, this goes back to clock management. Them having a guy that is a quality control coach that keep you with at least one fucking timeout. They burnt their timeouts before the last 5 minutes of the game. Like, how do you not have a timeout? I'm Dak Prescott gets a lot of blame because he should have checked out of this call, because now what's going to wind up happening is people are going to say, yo, you're the third highest paid quarterback in football.
Yeah.
You're the third highest paid quarterback in football. Aaron Rodgers checks out of that play. Patrick Mahomes checks out of that play. What about you, Dak? Do you really deserve that money? I don't think so. Yeah, right? Jerry Jones never wanted to pay him. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, even if you don't check out of the play, you got to execute in that case. You got no timeouts. Your season's on the line. You have to execute perfectly if you're going to run that play. You know what I mean? You can't blunder.
Yo, to be honest, I don't even think the play was that bad.
That's what I'm saying. If the execution works.
In my opinion, they should have just taken 2 Hail Marys at the end zone. They were at the 40-yard line. If you can't throw the ball into the end zone for the 40-yard line, you shouldn't be playing in the NFL. I get it. They wanted to get a little bit closer, probably get like a one-on-one situation, drift to the corner, whatever the case may be. I don't even think the play that was that bad. It just wasn't thought through, and the Cowboys weren't playing with any urgency. If you notice the linemen, they may have been exhausted, but they weren't hustling to the line. They were taking their time to get there, man. You got to play with urgency in that situation. And it didn't even look like they wanted to win.
But you got to look at it.
Shout out to that referee for not even knowing where Dak Prescott was and running right into him when he goes to get the ball.
Real quick. We got a first-time
what's up, Jalen?
Watcher. Shout out, Jalen. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Taking the time to tune with us. Chat, let us know. Do you think it's Dak's fault, or do you think it's the referee's fault, or the coach's fault? Please comment. Let us know. So
there's enough blame to go around. But the way I see it is this. You have Amari Cooper, one of the best receivers in football. You have CeeDee Lamb, one of the most athletic young receivers in football, right on the outsides. Then you got that other kid they got in the slot. So you have 2 guys that are fucking qualified to catch 50-50 balls. That's what you pay Dak That's what you pay Dak for. That's what you pay CeeDee Lamb for. And that's definitely what you pay Amari Cooper for. You take the shot. Take the shot. Yeah. And not for nothing, that game should have been a boat race. Had the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo not let them back into the game, as Chad said previously. So now we're getting to the point where the common denominator here in all of these years is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is the common denominator, man. And he doesn't bring in an alpha because when he does, for you to have an alpha coach, you have to relinquish some of your control. He tried it with Bill Parcells when they went into the toilet. Bill Parcells rebuilt the team. Then he was itching. He let Bill have his team for like 6 or 7 months, and he got sick of that shit and brought T.O. in.
He finally let him buy the groceries and not just try to cook with somebody else's groceries.
I want to see Jerry Jones out there coaching on the sideline. just one game.
He might as fucking well. Bro, sure. you got rid of. We don't want to go way back in the revisionist history. Not revisionist history, but we don't want to go way back in the time. But the Dallas Cowboys, man, had a fucking dynasty set up.
Mm-hmm.
They had a dynasty set up. You had Jimmy Johnson, man, one of the best coaches in the history of the NFL, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you
and the Herschel Walker trade that they had it set up for decades.
Set up for decades. They had the best offensive line I've ever seen since I've been watching football.
For sure.
You had Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. I mean, I'm talking about they were loaded defensively. You had Dion. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. They could have pretty much won 5 Super Bowls in a row. I believe so. They won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer coaching them because Jerry has a humongous ego.
Mm-hmm.
That is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys won't win a Super Bowl until Jerry Jones relinquishes control. He's been on this quest for almost 30 years to fucking prove that he can win without Jimmy. Clock's ticking, buddy. Let somebody know what they're doing, run that damn team.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man. I mean, they definitely need to make some type of changes. I mean, I don't, like you said before, McCarthy is the reason why Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't have 2 to 3 more Super Bowls. Like when Aaron Rodgers won that first one, everybody was like, yo, this guy is going to take over the league. But you saw it time and time again. They always butt heads. Aaron Rodgers was clearly the alpha in that situation, but he didn't let him have control of his team. They were always butting heads. One thing about football, the head coach and the quarterback need to be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Even Belichick and Brady, like the last couple of years, they're saying they were starting to butt heads, and they always had that mutual respect for each other, right? And at time, and Bill Belichick let Brady do what Brady wanted to do, And then I'm sure after the games they had those type of discussions, that type of discourse. But at the end of the day, you got to let your players make plays. And if you're playing tentative in these situations, that Cowboys offense is way too good to what they have yesterday. 16 points. That's embarrassing with the weapons on that team.
And that's because they got given the ball like damn near on the doorstep at the end of the game.
Zeke is what, the second highest paid running back in the league?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell him apart from his backup, Tony Pollard.
No, Tony Pollard is
at the time
actually
Tony Pollard was
outperforming
outperforming him.
And they came out and said that he was playing hurt. Zeke was, and it's like, all right, that comes down to coaching too. You got him playing hurt, not at 100%.
Man, those
got Tony Pollard on the bench.
Exactly. Those things always come out when the team loses.
Right. Nobody said it beforehand. Yeah, that's a fact.
Well, see, you know what the problem is? I had to push back on something you said previous. And see, Bill Belichick never gave Tom Brady control or autonomy. Bill Belichick is the man that's in control. That's why Tom Brady's gone. And he probably should have. And with Mike McCarthy, it's not that Mike McCarthy was butting heads with Aaron Rodgers because he's trying to assert some kind of dominance over him. That was never their relationship. He understood that Aaron Rodgers was the talent he was. He understood that Aaron Rodgers was the man on the trigger. The fact is that Aaron Rodgers has this thing where he's always got to prove that he's the smartest guy in the room. And guess what? He realized that he was the smartest guy. Respect Mike McCarthy. That's what.
Bro, I don't blame him, bro. If I felt I was smarter than my head coach and he was holding me back, I would want to prove it too. I'd be like, bro, you're pissing me off. Like, especially if you try to belittle him in front of the whole room. It's like, what if I left this team right now? Where would you guys be?
Yep.
Right.
You got to let the best player play, man. Especially if he's a good leader. We see what he could do when he's able to just play free.
Yeah.
Well.
He's ridiculous.
Dak Prescott needs to get in this fucking playbook, man, because he should have checked out of that. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse with this. You do not run a draw when you have no timeouts. And the fact that they didn't have a timeout, that falls on the shoulders of the coach. And the fact that Dak Prescott didn't fucking use his brain and say, you know what, man, this is stupid.
But yeah, and that's the thing. But it still goes back to the coach. Like, yes, he should have checked out of it, but who the hell calls that play when? And I have to push back on. Like, I know y'all are saying if it's executed well, but like, you're asking for like a whole lot to go right. Like, all right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run, we're gonna slide. He's gonna pop up. Nobody's gonna hit him. Nobody's gonna land on him. Nobody's gonna get in anybody's way. We're gonna hurry up. We're gonna get, and then you can have what, 1 second?
Yeah.
Like
Now, just to clarify, though, I'm not saying that was the right call. But however, if you're going to make that call, you have to execute perfectly.
You have to execute it
and
perfectly.
They clearly didn't discuss how to do that in the timeout. The 49ers called the timeout. You know what I mean? If they were running it without that timeout, it's like, all right, you didn't have a chance to talk about it. Cool. But they called a timeout. You were in the huddle
it was a hurry
for a
up
minute.
or something.
You were in the huddle for a minute. You had the time to discuss every single factor that goes into that. And one of those is you're not even handing the ball off. It's not like Dak had to go get the ball. Keep the ball in your hands, hand it to the ref, let him spot it, clock it with a second, if that's the way you guys want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, I got to push back on you and give you a little sit down, son. Because had Chad not said that, you would have been rolling with this shit, saying it was the right play. You and Ed. Now, I'm not saying it was the right play. We're happy was.
No, man, bro. I'm just saying, if you're gonna call it, it has to be perfect, or it's not gonna work. Like we saw.
If it has to be perfect, then you don't call it.
Then you don't call it.
But this is the thing.
I'm with you on that.
This is the thing, right? In that type of scenario, the defense is doing two things. They're leaving the middle of the field wide open because they want you to attack the middle because you have no timeouts.
Right.
And they're leaving all their guys in the end zone. So you either attack the end zone 2 times, or you throw a little slant route to the middle of the field and then clock it real quick, or you run the QB draw and clock real quick. But they ran a QB draw and he just kept running. He should have slid earlier and then clocked it. Maybe he had 4 to 5 seconds left and have one good shot at the end zone. I get it. I don't think it was the correct play, but I think they could have executed it, but they were showing no urgency. And that's something as a leader, you got to talk like, yo, I'm going to run to whatever, the 25-yard line. I'm going to slide. You guys better be there when I get up.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked like he just was like, should I slide now? Should I?
He waited until the defense converged.
Then he put the football down himself.
Yeah.
Right.
What did Larry Fitzgerald do every time in a late game scenario? He would catch the ball, he would give it right to the referee.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Every time.
The elite players know what to do in the last few seconds of the game.
And even if you guys put the ball down yourself, like the lineman didn't even leave the ref a spot to just slide through. He had to run through them. If he was able to spot the ball,
and
he might have still been able to have that second.
If I'm Jerry Jones, I'm trading Zeke and Dak for Deshaun Watson. Because Deshaun Watson would be elite with that offense, and he would kill. Look at Jay. I knew Jay was going to get mad.
See, we could say that, right? Nobody's going to take that much salary, right? And also, the Texans are hell-bent on ruining Deshaun Watson's career. They made this man sit out for a whole year. Mm-hmm. We all know that they're the ones who sicked all of these fucking assholes on them, saying that he's some like he's some serial fucking hand job artist or something like that. We know it's all bullshit. You know what I mean? And you know, transitioning a little bit, you can see what they did this year by hiring and firing the coach that they did. Mm-hmm. They hired that coach down there for the express reason so that people cannot call that organization racist, because that's what was coming out of that organization. That's the reason why Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play for them anymore. You know, that's exactly what happened. And they were like, all right, we're not racist. Look, we got a black guy coaching us. And then they set the guy up with one of the worst rosters in
Tyrod Taylor's our quarterback.
Yeah, right? One of the worst rosters in football. Give the guy 1 year. He does better than they expected, better than anybody. He
had the same record,
quarterback.
Same record as when Deshaun Watson was playing.
Yeah, and then he developed a young quarterback, the kid out of Stanford, and they're like, you know what? You did a little too good. Get the fuck out of here. We're gonna fire you. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man?
Yeah, well, and then Brian Flores in Miami. It was the same kind of thing where like it's like, all right, you're 1-7 or whatever to start, because they were having their struggles and Tua having his issues and everything, and then they finally put it together and they go on a run and damn near make the playoffs, and then they fire him. And it's just, you know, here we are with we got one man holding the line, Mike Tomlin,
one black coach in the NFL right now, and they're complaining about him.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
Do you realize that?
Here's the tweet right here where this guy's talking about the standard being lower, and Jonesy, here you go. I'll let you read it. So here comes the media.
Here comes the media coming for the last black coach standing. The guy wins the Super Bowl, makes the playoffs every year, and never has to lose a season, but somehow the standard is lower. People were saying about Mike Tomlin that, oh, he had been his whole career. Oh, Cowher's better. Listen, Mike Tomlin didn't lose the AFC Championship at home like 4 fucking times. Mm-hmm. Mike Tomlin, with less years, has won more games than Bill Cowher. Let's talk about it. And he's been in the Super Bowl the same amount of times already. Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in football. He's actually he has the best record besides Bill Belichick. Him and Sean Payton have pretty much an identical record. They go back and forth and shit. I think this year Tomlin overtook him.
He would have another Super Bowl if Antonio Brown didn't lose his mind and Le'Veon Bell didn't sit out that season.
Yeah,
because they were easily the best team that year. They had the best offense.
Yeah.
What was that, about 4 years ago?
Yeah, man.
The dude is a phenomenal coach. Phenomenal. The fact that the Steelers' records these past 2 seasons, the fact that they were in this playoff game this past week is a result of him and nobody else.
And the Raiders. Wash your mouth out with soap. The Raiders taking care of fucking business, because they would have been at home.
You mean the no fun league script and everything?
Hey, but look,
let's be real.
The Steelers had to put themselves into that position. Like the only way that they would have not made it was with a tie. And the Raiders and the Chargers did everything they could to try to ice Mike Tomlin out of the playoffs, but they failed.
But the Chargers didn't. They called the timeout. They were like, nope. Let's take this L.
Right.
Let's get Ben in the playoffs.
But for real though, what I've always noticed with the National Football League is that they are way more punitive with black head coaches than they are with anyone else. You get guys like Adam Gase and fucking Mike McCarthy. They get jobs again, and they get the best fucking jobs. Mike McCarthy, look at the roster he has in Dallas.
Yeah. If anybody hires Adam Gase, I will smack them in the face myself.
Look at fucking the Green Bay Packers the years he was there. This guy had Favre and Rodgers and won 1 Super Bowl and used to perennially get kicked out of the playoffs earlier, right?
Yeah.
And then you get guys like Jim Caldwell, goes to the woeful Detroit Lions.
Detroit was terrible.
9-7, 8-8, 9-7. They fired a guy. They were the fucking worst team in football for fucking 10 years, man. You look at Marvin
and went
Lewis.
right back to being the worst team in football.
As soon as he leaves. Yeah. Marvin Lewis is in Cincinnati. Cincinnati makes the playoffs. Keeps making the playoffs. And listen, I'm not saying he should have kept his job forever. He was there a long time. But he doesn't get hired again.
Yeah. That's a good
point. Never gets hired again.
That's ridiculous. He's never been hired.
Nobody's ever even talked about him. Or Todd Bowles with the Jets. He comes to the Jets his first year, 10-6. The next year, I forget. I think they were like 9-7 or something like that. He had 1 losing season. He's gone. Anthony Lynn, 1 bad year, gone. Like we could keep Brian Flores gone, and then they're saying that he has a problem with the people in the building. You know who he has a problem with in the building? The fucking owner of the team, because the owner of the team drafted Tua, and Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert.
And now who was right?
Brian Flores. He's fucking in. Listen, man.
Justin Herbert is so nice.
He's so good. Yo, and the owner's really more mad at himself that he fucking listened to the guy. Listen, a lot of these owners, I understand you want somebody that you're comfortable with. You want to have a say in it. You paid for the team. You want to look, I get it. But you gotta have respect for people who are professionals. You are not a professional talent evaluator. You didn't spend your life in football.
The thing is, these owners are they're the most egotistical people in the world. They're billionaires. So when they're wrong, that's the toughest thing to admit, is that they're actually wrong.
It's like, where the fuck do you get off? It's not like Al Davis.
Here's the thing about talent evaluation, though, is that you got to know your role. And when you're an owner, your talent evaluation acumen is in how you hire your executives to handle the other shit. And then you let them do the talent evaluation for the shit downstream of that. That's the whole thing. If you believe in your ability to evaluate talent, you hire someone and then you let them do the job you hire them to do, and you get the fuck out of the way. You give them all the resources that they need.
Football league. Let's look at the list of owners who, for the last 20 years, right? Who's dominated the National Football League? The New England Patriots. Robert Kraft hired Bill Belichick. That was the guy he believed in. And he goes like this. he goes like this. And the only fucking time that he stepped in was when Belichick wanted to get rid of Brady about 6 or 7 years ago. Yep. And he goes, not my Tommy. You're not getting rid of my Tommy.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, he goes, whoa, you got to chill the fuck out.
I'm still here.
While we're still on the subject of the whole coaching situation and what has been done to these black coaches, it's a great time for our sponsor tonight. This is Louisiana Senate candidate Gary Chambers.
Every 37 seconds, someone is arrested for possession of marijuana. Since 2010, state and local police have arrested an estimated 7.3 million Americans for violating marijuana laws, over half of all drug arrests. Black people are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana laws than white people. States waste $3.7 billion enforcing marijuana laws every year. Most of the people police are arresting aren't dealers, but rather people with small amounts of pot, just like me. I'm Gary Chambers, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Yo, shout out to Saul G. Saul G shot at Elias. He running for Senate. I really thought I almost tweeted that before the show. I was like, damn, Saul G, you live in Louisiana now? Shit. Saul shot at L.
But no, look, like it fit perfectly with tonight, and I'm actually looking at him like, you know what, like. I might actually go out and vote for this guy. I'm gonna hit him up, see if he needs some help campaigning and shit and everything. Anybody who's willing to light up a blunt on his campaign ad, I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah, and I don't even smoke.
He rolled up with Fatty too, bro.
Yeah, they said he put an eighth in the backwood.
Yo, son, let me tell you something. I really thought that was Saul at first, yo. I thought Saul like, all right now, y'all better vote for me, nigga.
Oh shit, man. I love our audience. Our audience is the best. Oh, he's rolling his eyes. He is not happy.
Shout out to Jabari though. He said we'll see how many black coaches get hired. Now, what do you guys think, man? There's 7 openings. There's like Minnesota, Chicago, New York, Miami, Houston. I think there's one or two more.
It's tough right now because the best coaches applicants, in my opinion, are still in the playoffs. You got what's his name,
right.
Leftwich down in Tampa Bay, and then you got
Todd
Eric
Bowles
Bieniemy
in Tampa Bay also. Bieniemy,
Bieniemy's a good one. Yeah.
He should have been a head coach probably 2 years ago.
Well, longer than that. Like he was the guy. Wasn't he?
Why not?
Wasn't he Kansas City's offensive coordinator for a long time when they had with Priest Holmes and Larry Johnson?
No.
Okay.
No. Todd Haley and all of them, they had a lot of people there. That's when Dick Vermeil was the coach. So none of them guys were there. But look, this is the problem with Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy has a lot of issues from the past with drunk driving, women, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And when you have an offensive coordinator that's sitting next to an all-time great coach like Andy Reid, you can't see the forest from the trees. Like, how many people have gotten jobs that were Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator? How's that worked out? How many times have people gotten jobs that were Tom Brady's coordinator, like Byron Leftwich and like Josh McDaniels? How does it work out when you don't have that guy? See, like, that's not how I evaluate who's going to be a good coach or not. You know what I mean? Like, you're in kind of like a situation where you can't. It's the same thing with the Baltimore Ravens all those years where they got all of these guys head coaching jobs and none of them did it. And the only one who kind of did okay was Rex. Rex and Marvin Lewis did all right. You got other guys that got jobs from coaching Ray Lewis. It's easy to coach Ray Lewis and fucking Ed Reed. Let's be for real here. So, you know what I mean? Like, so with Leftwich, everybody wants to. Oh, Leftwich is going to be a great. Like, dude, let's see how Leftwich does if he doesn't have Tom Brady. Yeah. Now, if Leftwich gets hired in Jacksonville, that'll be a different story because now you got Trevor Lawrence there. But it's all about getting the right job and picking the right job. Mm-hmm. So, that's a good point. But with Eric Bieniemy, I don't want a guy that hasn't been other places and made his system work. You see, it's different when you get a guy like, say, for instance, like Hugh Jackson, former coach of the Raiders, former coach of the Cleveland Browns. He was all.
I was thinking of Wolverine. I'm like, what?
But Hugh Jackson, not Hugh Jackman, but Hugh Jackson was all over the National Football League. He coached different positions on the offense.
Yeah,
he coached wide receivers. He coached quarterback. He was the one who coached Joe Flacco the year they went to the Super Bowl. Hugh Jackson is proven. When you have these guys that are attached at the hip of a great of a great coach, I never buy into that. I need to see you go somewhere else and do that.
I get it.
Then I'll say Pep Hamilton. Pep
I get
Hamilton
you,
is a great guy.
but is he not a better candidate than some of these guys that have gotten hired though? Like Adam Gase got a second chance. Joe Judge got hired as a special teams coach for Bill Belichick, but like was he anywhere else? Like, you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah,
and the reason why, and listen, what I want as far as being a black man myself is I want you to go and succeed. And I want you to be in the best position to succeed. You know that there's going to be that built-in fucking bias. There might be that it's not a bias like a racial bias. A lot of the times it's who I'm familiar with. I know his old man. I got the connection because I was in that organization. With the Giants tend to hire people who have a connection to the Giants organization. They go to Bill Belichick's coaching tree. They go to guys who coached under Parcells. We know that. That's why they hired Dave Gettleman. Should have never had a job being the fucking GM there, right? They rarely go outside of the organization. We get that. But when you get it, like when Mike Tomlin got the Steelers job, I was so happy because I know that's the most stable organization in football. I don't want to see these guys go into situations and where they're going to get dog walked and fired in a year. You see what happened in Houston.
That's a good point.
You see what happens with Brian Flores going to a Mickey Mouse organization like the Miami Dolphins. So it's like I want to see guys that I know can coach. Like Pep Hamilton, like Todd Bowles, guys like that. These are the guys I want to see get jobs. These guys that are attached to these Hall of Fame guys, I don't want to see them go and get fired.
I think if Todd Bowles gets it, when he does get his shot, he's going to do well because he was doing a decent job with the Jets. There was just a lot of, holes to fill in there. He's more of a defensive-minded coach, and they were really struggling with their offense.
Their
so
biggest hole was at quarterback. I mean, they were like going through trash quarterbacks left and right.
And obviously, he's a defensive-minded coach, right? So I think, though, if he goes through the correct scenario with a solid QB, a solid system, he'll definitely have some success.
Shit, he wasn't the one who drafted Geno Smith. He inherited Geno Smith.
Yeah.
They overdrafted Geno, and that was a terrible fucking pick. And then they get Sammy, and then Sammy isn't any good. We can see that now, right? But the problem is the New York media. See, everybody thinks that the South is like has all the history of you know what I mean, just like kind of a little racial overtones. But nowhere is it more prevalent than in the New York media, man. The New York media, and it's not about racial. The New York media is the enemy of success. Nobody can fucking have a dynasty in New York. Like everybody says, oh, you can't rebuild in New York. And it's like, why? All of the teams in New York have been trash for fucking 30 years, bro. Except the New York Yankees. You should be able to fucking rebuild in New York. Why not? Why not, bro? Like, look, right. Jerry Reese got fired by the Giants and he won 2 Super Bowls. Eli Manning should have been canonized, bro. Every year, we got to get rid of fucking Eli. It's like this guy's had the best career of any quarterback to ever play in New York. You fucking kidding me? Like the New York media is fucking. It has nothing to do with race. The New York media is fucking delusional, man. I would never take a job in New York.
Yeah, they're like the opposite of Cowboys fans. They always hate everybody and want to fire them. Whereas the Cowboys fans are like, it doesn't matter who it is. Our third backup quarterback is the greatest third backup quarterback in the history of third backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. That's because people in New York, bro, we have no patience up here. Everything is so fast paced. We want it now. We can never have this might, when Philly did their whole trust the process thing, they were basically saying, hey, we're gonna suck for like 4 years, but if you're in it with us, we're going to make something happen. Now they got Embiid and Simmons, and they had a couple of years. Obviously, stuff's going wrong now. But they said, hey, man, we're going to suck. Stick with us. And then we're going to have a good team. If you said that in New York.
Yeah, the Cubs did the same thing, but you can't do that in New York.
Everybody wants to be good the next year. Oh, let's pay this guy. Let's throw this guy this contract. That used to work back in the day with the Yankees, but even the Yankees, that's not working for them now.
Yeah.
What's hilarious about it? What's hilarious about it is that in doing that, they've ensured that they're always going to be just good enough to make the playoffs sometimes and like disappoint almost perennially.
The Yankees, that never worked with. I hate when everybody says that. That never worked with the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees got rebuilt the years that Steinbrenner got suspended for fucking hiring a private detective to dig up dirt on Dave Winfield. When he was out of baseball, Gene Stick-Michaels and Bob Watson rebuilt the Yankees, and they drafted Derek Jeter. They drafted Andy Pettitte. They drafted Mariano Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
You see the common denominator here?
Yeah.
They drafted the core four, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted all of them guys, and then they brought in a low-key free agent like Tino Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted Jorge Posada. Like, think about that. That was the core of that team. Everybody else that they brought in, they got worse when they started getting big name free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When you really look at it, when they're bringing in Jason Giambi and all these fucking guys,
Bobby Abreu. And
I love Jason Giambi, man. He was all about the steroids, so I was a big Giambi guy, man. Hit the leather off the ball, bro.
You like
Hit a
the
grand
juice?
slam in the rain. You know what that was for? The juice.
yes, sir. Man.
Yeah, Teixeira, and I remember watching that for a while. I was like, it looks like every time somebody goes to New York, they get worse. It's like they get these huge free agent contracts to these guys who had like career
Bro, that's
years.
because New York fans are the best and the worst, man. It's like if you're playing well, they're like, yeah, he's the best. But if you have like a bad week, they're trying to ship you out, bro.
Yeah, but it was
like
also
3 games.
they were also buying people at their absolute peak. They were like, there's some people who do this in stock trading. They wait for a breakout. They wait for a breakout and then they buy the break, and it's like, and then it tanks again. And like, why didn't you buy it when everybody was shitting
high?
on it?
Let's buy.
Yeah. Why don't you buy it when everybody's shitting on it? You know, like
they're retarded. Fucking like Giancarlo Stanton. Yeah,
yeah.
Let's get him the net after he hits 58 home runs. Like he's never gonna do that again.
My man was definitely on the juice down there. Nobody cared, bro.
No joke, bro.
This guy's the only thing keeping the Marlins relevant.
Him and Marcelo Zuna, bro. That year that like, they were hitting balls that were like killing people in the stands, damn near.
Type of 1 in the chat if you think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. The best baseball player
baseball
ever.
isn't a sport.
It's an activity.
Well, it's not a sport anymore because they took the roids out. That's when it was exciting.
Bring back the juice.
We're going crazy.
It's off brand. I can't bring that up anymore because it's the wrong colors. We gotta redo all those things.
Listen, man. Listen.
It's all juice, all ones.
Listen, man. You can say what you want. You can say what you want about New York, but the fact still remains that, they say you can't rebuild in New York, and that's such bullshit because every team in New York has been rebuilding for 25 years.
That's what I'm saying. They just ensure mediocrity forever because they're never satisfied.
The only teams that have won in the last like fucking 20 years are the Giants and the Yankees. Like, I'm talking about going all the way and won. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, the fucking Knicks have been rebuilding since Patrick Ewing walked out of the building. The Giants.
Their problem is their owner as well, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah. He
Especially
fucking get the players' hand jobs on a plane.
Bro. Yep. And everybody in the NBA is friends. They're like, bro, don't go there. Like,
oh, yeah.
This guy's a terrible guy. You know what I'm saying?
He's not a bad guy. He's like a jock sniffer. He's like Donald Sterling, but a lot less work.
He moves like a politician, man.
Like you know what I heard, man? What I heard from a guy that I know that I'm not gonna name is a guy that I know. He grew up in a neighborhood or whatever. He played for the Knicks, and he comes on the plane and holds them hostage, playing his fucking bass guitar. Like he wants to hang out with the players, and the players are like, dude, you're like 65 years old, bro. We not friends. Get the fuck. Why are you on our plane with us talking to us? Leave us alone.
Sign my checks.
Look, yeah. He's like, hey guys, you want to watch my band and all of that? Like he wants to be friends with the players. It's like, bro, no.
Yeah. I'm not even 50 yet. All right. And so my son's birthday was Sunday, and we went out to dinner. Like we went out to lunch as a family, but then we went out to dinner. He wanted to go out with some of his friends and everything. And so we went, because we were going to the same restaurant and everything. We went and sat by ourselves. We let them go do their thing because we knew like they want to have like 16-year-old conversation. They don't want to be like sitting there with mom and dad, like sitting there amidst the conversation. And it was his birthday. It's his thing. Let him have fun. We already did our thing as a family for lunch and everything. It's a weird thing. Like it's cool to like be cool with people, but then you got to like know when it's time to step away and let the players just have. That's one of the things I loved about Joe Madden when he was coaching, he was managing the Cubs. Like he was like, I hate meetings with me. I love when the players have their own meetings because I just feel like it's like they're professionals.
At the
Let
highest,
them do their thing.
Exactly. At the highest level of this game, at the professional level, bro, you own a multi-billion-dollar team. Like, you can't be friends with your players. You're about to trade them the next week if you don't like them. Why would I want to be friends with you
How
when
do I
I'm on
block
the trading
Hotep
block?
Jesus?
He said another story of the Bayou. He's like, back when Joe Madden was at LSU, he used to get pretzels and fucking.
Joe Madden was the.
I know the coach, the manager of the Cubs. We know who Joe Madden is. Asshole. Nobody cares about the Cubs or Joe Madden. You just shoehorned them into this.
But you
can go ahead.
Anyway, but you said he was at LSU. I'm just saying, you're the idiot here. You can laugh all you want.
It's either about LSU or the Cubs, Chad. It's not like this big. Like,
bro,
shit.
Anyway.
Here we go again.
when you're at the highest level, man, you can have a friendly professional relationship with your players, right? You want to be obviously on good terms. You want them to like you, but you can't be friends with these guys. You're going to trade them the next week. You can't have that type of relationship with these guys. And these type of guys, where they come from, they can smell phoniness as soon as it walks in the door.
That's a fact.
They can see phoniness
All
like
right.
this, man.
Yeah.
I have to say, because there's another conversation going on in the chat, and I have to step in here. I see you working, Saul G, but I'm going to tell you you're wrong. Like, okay, so yes, steroids definitely does not change hand-eye control or coordination, whatever. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't make it to where some of that shit's a little bit easier, because you don't have to load up like you do when it's a whole different ball game when you just have like this.
Are you hating on steroids right now? Please.
I'm not
please
hating on
refrain from your
steroids.
statement.
I'm telling you that they absolutely, like, you can be the same guy. That's how Brady Anderson goes from hitting like a career high of 23 home runs to hitting 50. Like, bro, it's not because he's like
better
his
for the game.
His hand-eye coordination got so much. I don't disagree that it's better for the game. I totally agree.
Okay, that's all I
But
wanted.
you can't tell me that like it doesn't make it easier to stay back, let the ball travel, and go the other way with a fastball and hit it 450 feet the opposite way into right center than it does when you're not roided up.
Bro, steroids took Sammy Sosa from being a throw-in for George Bell to Hall of Fame numbers. Don't tell me that shit, man. Steroids makes a difference, especially in baseball. So you get guys that have warning track power that will be flying out, and they're hitting the ball into the fourth fucking deck, man. Like Brady Anderson, Chad says he hit 20. He started taking steroids to hit 23 home runs and then to hit 55. The fucking single said it was a bum.
No, that's true. That's right.
A bum, man. Get out of here, bro.
And he said he was talking about earlier. He's like, Barry Bonds in Pittsburgh was a Hall of Famer. Yeah, no shit. We all agree. But his game was completely different. He was a 30-30, 40-40 guy who was like running all over the outfield, like tracking shit down like King Griffey Jr. And when he roided up, he was damn near barely able to play first base.
He went from being Roberto Clemente to being Babe Ruth.
Yes.
He went from just being a fucking video game. Like, he went from hitting 30, 38, 40, being Willie Mays.
Pete Rose to Pete Incaviglia. He was like,
Bro,
it was a whole different thing.
Let me see a one in the chat if you think
unreal.
baseball needs steroids back.
It does.
It
see-
does.
let me see
We
one
don't
in the chat,
disagree.
everybody.
We don't disagree. We're just saying that.
Chad, there's a question
Barry
for you
Bonds
in the chat.
Before and after. What's that? How much Roy's have you done? None. I haven't done any.
Well, you should.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have. I might have had a longer career if I had done that. But
Look
who
at the
knows
people,
what kind
man.
of condition I would be in right now. But
We look at all the ones in the chat.
Ant
Yes.
doesn't care. Ant doesn't care if other people get injections and it does stuff to them. He just doesn't want. Anyway, it's a.
Ant wants to see the best player in baseball with a fucking needle in his neck going to the fucking on deck circle.
I want to see him. I want to see him injecting it in the on deck circle and smack it out of the ballpark.
He wants
Still
to see
steroids.
somebody roid up and
Still
have a
back
fucking
steroids.
nosebleed.
That was awesome. Shout out to Steph Colonel. Oh shoot, that was awesome. No, but I definitely, I think it would be totally cool because, like I've said before, like if Kurt Schilling can pitch after he has ankle surgery because they roided him up with cortisone and everything else, all the legal steroids. It's a steroid. It's just not an anabolic steroid.
Come on,
I'm just saying, they're all of these things, all this shit that they're injecting in people.
I just got a cortisone shot today.
Right. All these painkillers that they're putting in these players and everything. All of these things are performance enhancers.
They need to bring back steroids and bring back metal baseball bats.
Yeah, that would be
somebody would get killed.
You'd have to. But so, here's the thing, though, with steroids, just like with Ben Johnson, the guys would be faster, so you could actually move the bases back to 120 feet, and then actually you would be able to save people's lives. So you could have aluminum bats, steroids, 90 or 120 foot bases, and everybody'd be safe. It'd be cool. I'm with it. I'm with it, Ant. I like
slam
it.
Ball.
Yeah,
call some other shit, bro. No fucking way. Aluminum baseball bats, bro. But come on, man. But listen, getting back to the ranch a little bit here, man. We in the media, man. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to make sure that we give you guys the real, because all through the sports media, everyone is avoiding that little ugly pixel in a pretty picture. They won't tell you or explain to you that why doesn't Jim Caldwell get another job?
The NFL had MLK patches on everybody's uniforms yesterday,
and fired every black coach in the league.
Black coach in the NFL.
Yo, no black GMs, nobody, bro. This shit is insane, bro. It's just like for me, I'm never one of these guys who are like, oh, oppression. I'm never one of these guys, bro. But it's just like, yo, man. You got a league with 70% black players, right? And you mean to tell me that like there's nobody, you know what I mean? Like there's a problem with that.
It would be great if the NFL Twitter account or Instagram account posted a black square for Mike Tomlin. That would be the perfect synopsis, the perfect synthesis of this whole thing. It's like post a black square out of respect for black coaches because we got one.
Yo, bro, it's to the point now where they're gonna probably have to go to a bad organization and make them hire somebody because nobody's talking about it. You know what I mean?
They're gonna pull up those Jon Gruden emails. They're gonna be like, "Look, we got these emails. How bad do you want to hire this guy?"
Yeah, and to your point, Jonesy, that just puts them back in the same situation that you were talking about them needing to avoid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. I was like, I'm not going to perform at halftime of the Super Bowl.
I think we moved past kneeling. That's what he said.
We moved past kneeling, though. It's The Rock. Fuck out of here with that shit, man. Like, yo, look, man. I'm gonna put it to you like this, man. The National Football League. If anybody's in the National Football League and you're a brother or whatever, you have to go in there. You gotta get your money. You gotta get out, man. You know what I mean? Because that league is a joke, bro. It really is, man.
Chews you up and spit you out, man.
It chews you up and spits you out, man. and it's just like it's getting to the point for me, and this is me speaking. For me, I don't understand why you can't interview guys on their own volition and not have the Rooney Rule and all of this other shit. You know what I mean? Like, why does it even have to be that way? You know, there aren't any former players that you might want to bring in. It is what it is, man. It's a good old boys club. We know that.
Yep.
I'm not saying that out loud. Saul G typed that. I did not type that. But yeah, that's
hilarious. Yo, who's gonna be the face of that though?
That's the question.
Who's gonna put on a helmet? Flavor Flav or some shit?
I want to see the Washington Caucasians.
That'd be awesome.
Here's
on a helmet.
Here's what I've always found funny about all that stuff is that like, because I think they've even talked to like a lot of the what is it? What do you say? Oh God!
Shout out to Jabari.
Jabari, that is it. That's it. It's over. It's done. It's done. Saul G. We gotta
wrap this up.
You said George Floyd.
We gotta wrap this up.
Oh shoot! We gotta go. The FBI is knocking. Peace, y'all. I got next. We'll catch y'all next time.